Solar Integrated Roofing is in one of the hottest businesses right now, and that is renewable energy. Now, the company has grown from operating in Southern California to having a nationwide presence with 19 million in sales in July. So with me is Troy Clymer and Pablo Diaz from Solar Integrated Roofing. Great to have you guys at the NASDAQ. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. And
super excited.
Yeah.
Thank you.
good to be here with you, and come to find out we're both Hoosiers.
We are, yes. We did a little.
I'm the outcast.
I know.
Arizona guy over here.
Arizona, that's a great place too, and lots of solar going on there, by the way. So we'll get to that.
Let me tell you.
So now I've been following you guys for a couple of years. I know your CEO, Dave Massey. I mean, it feels like the past year has been a huge growth area for you guys. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Well, it's been quite exciting, and I'm here with Pablo Diaz, and he's the CEO of our most recent acquisition, USA Solar Networks. And you know, I came to Solar Integrated Roofing Corporation from Balance Authority LLC, so one of the largest third-party administrators for contractors in the space. So we're two of 14 acquisitions, I believe, that have gone down just around in the last year. So it's been very exciting.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for myself, as I look back at the trajectory of my career, been doing this for 24 years now. That's how old I am, and my spaces have been finance, construction, alternative energy, and it just kind of seems like divine intervention has built me into this perfect position role that I'm in right now, because at Solar Integrated Roofing, they've built a platform and an ecosystem that really allows us to just expand our footprint, and we build off each other, which we're going to get into in a little bit, but it's a real dynamic place, and we're lucky to be aboard.
So talk about those acquisitions. I mean, what did it allow Solar Integrated to do? I know you've expanded to different geographical regions, but what are how does it all fit together for kind of the big plan?
Well, the growth through the accretive value of the acquisitions is one thing, but when you look at the recent acquisition list, USA Solar Network, Future Home Power, Balance, Cornerstone, NREV, and on down the list through our subsidiaries, we're really focused on organic growth now. So, you know, Pablo touched on it just a little bit, but the blending of all of the amazing talent that we have and moving through getting the right people in the right seats as we integrate and blend, especially in our solar division right now. I mean, to talk about blending our national dealer network with our vertical retail model that we've been so successful in California, and the mixing of those into one, I kind of like to use analogies, transmission, that catapults our ability to serve not only the retail, but the retail commercial and residential clients, but also to work with contractors who are wanting to bring solar into their business. And really, if you look at our organization as becoming a national kind of green energy company that's bringing together roofing and solar and EV and battery charging, it's quite exciting. I mean, Pablo and I were together in San Diego last week visiting several of our subsidiaries out there, and it's just super cool to see it all come together.
If I could add to that, that's a great way to share it, Troy. Just think about this ecosystem where you have all these different vertical businesses, but each one has its own business model. And what happens is you have, let's just say, Plemco,
Pacific Lighting and Energy Management.
Okay.
It's an EV and battery storage and battery charging kind of green energy company that we own that does infrastructure installs
and EV stations, a lot for the federal contracts. But what they've been trying to push on as an example is the commercial enterprise. Well, our other business model we're here under one of our subsidiaries, that's all we do is structure capital for these type of solutions. So this model with this model, now we create a new revenue stream. On the other side, our solar division that works in the solar field, but when you combine it with the roofing context that SIRC has, well, now you combine the two and it becomes into one unit, so they both can use the same subsidiaries that solar has to use, another revenue stream. So it's the verticals and new revenue streams that are compounded by combining the different business units. So it creates a real dynamic, solution-based environment.
Well, and it feels like this is such a hot area and it's growing so quickly that almost feels like you have to do a lot of these acquisitions to really kind of, stake your claim in the industry and grow. You got to take advantage of that fast growth.
Well, in bringing together these different business models, one of the joys that Pablo and I have right now is we're working through combining everything not just the business models, but you're talking about the accounting, the treasury, the leadership, right? And you know, Pablo mentioned just the synergy between, you know, Plemco and the capital structuring side of USA Solar Networks, but that's across the board at our different organizations. You know, we're talking about backwashing our solar prowess over our roofing organizations and vice versa. So, you know, we're entering this phase of tremendous growth right now, and I know we're going to get into it a little bit more, but, you know, you mentioned coming in, you know, just the revenue growth of the last few years. You know, 2 years ago, 9.1 million. You know, we just put out our annual report for fiscal year 21, 17.1 million.
Yeah.
You know, we're expecting 100 million plus for fiscal year 2022. You know, we're in the last week of our quarter right now, and, you know, we're doing as much in a month almost now in revenue as we did in revenue last year.
Okay.
And that's just in terms of the accretive revenue growth. And we haven't even really unleashed the optimization of the blending of all these business models and what that's going to do for our organic revenue growth. It's very exciting.
So let's talk, you mentioned the accounting, so let's talk about that for a second. So I know there was like an audit that, you know, you've been working on for a while. Where does that stand?
Well, there's a lot of those going on, right? So we are just moving through the audit of SIRC. So we're in the position right now where we're in the process of uplisting from OTC Pink to OTC QB on our way to NASDAQ, right? Would be our next move. So we're excited to be here today at NASDAQ. But it's, in terms of accounting, you know, we've got to get SIRC audited. I'll be in San Diego the week of the 13th working with the auditors and our CFO on that. You know, our goal is to get that done as efficiently as possible and then execute the uplist to OTC QB. And then it's even more audits.
Yeah.
You know, then it's all the subsidiaries and the Form 10 and approach to NASDAQ.
But
So.
what that does allow us is consolidation.
Yeah.
Right. We have a lot of moving parts, so we've invested heavily, and now it's time to consolidate these different vertical businesses that we have. But in that, we find new opportunities, and I really keep coming back to this because it's a place where organic growth is just spiraling into a huge trajectory. As an example, we've created a roofing to solar traveling convention where we're going to train roofing companies, and they have 1,000 relationships literally that they work with, a new revenue stream. And that's how to get into alternative energy, get into solar, sell solar. It's a simple task for them because they already have that infrastructure, and they become part of this new alternative energy wave. For us, our performance on production and just economics on it are extremely compelling.
And these are conservative.
Conservative.
I should say. So as we're seeing this consolidation, it's giving birth to new business models out of it, and that's why we did this roll up. And there's so much synergy going on right now across solar and roofing and green energy, and it's been quite exciting to be involved in the convergence of it in our space. And you know, I think it's going to be a joy to, you know, see the new business models emerge, because it's you know, 1 + 1 = 99 in terms of, you know, what's happening. And Pablo touched on our most recent joint venture. We just did a press release on that. You know, we're bringing USA Solar Networks together with our organic kind of vertical, you know, solar retail model historically that SIRC has had in California, and it's given birth to a whole new way to go to market.
It has.
And so we're bringing the resources in from the relationships that we have on the insurance restoration and roofing side at the company that I was the CEO of before we were acquired, and I became the COO of SIRC, Balance LLC. So we have the best coaching company in Contractor Coach Pro, the best media company in the space at American Contractor, and then putting them together with Pablo's team at USA Solar Network to create a solar jumpstart program where contractors coast to coast who are interested in bringing solar into their business can get involved in our dealership model. I mean, I don't want to get too far into the numbers, but our pro forma is calling for something like $300 million
24 months.
in 24 months of new revenue to SIRC. So bolt that on to the numbers we're already talking about. Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned the like the infrastructure, the charge, and that's one area that's still we don't quite have yet. So is that something that SIRC is getting into?
Absolutely.
Charging?
So, and that's part of the solutions that they've been driving with their acquisitions. You know, they're tailored, strategic if I buy this, I'm going to get these results here, right? Our national footprint expands every time we do an acquisition, but we're taking the methodical approach of consolidating everything, focusing on shareholder valuations. But the infrastructure building is a key component of what we're doing. We're interweaving through everybody and seeing where we can blend a new revenue stream, because they're all there. They're all there to connect the dots. It's literally in one ecosystem that we live under now.
Yeah. So I want you both to weigh in on this final question. Where do you see solar going? I mean, it's clearly part of our future. I mean,
well, I mean, I'm gonna leave Pablo to get into the details.
Okay.
Of that. He's a subject matter expert. What I will say is, with the infrastructure bill that we see coming at a federal level, we are trying to stay ahead of that with our innovation. You know, at SIRC, we want to lead through top-down transparency, have integrity with our innovation, and bring people together to advance their lives. So we see this shift in green energy, and we're incredibly well poised to take advantage of that with where solar's going.
If you look at the market, less than 3% penetration has occurred at the residential level.
Okay.
On a commercial landscape, less than 1%. There is, the growth trajectory is completely vertical, and we're barely beginning this new solar wave, what I call it, the solar wave around the world. And when you think about it, every country in the nation is almost in the world has signed onto the Paris Climate Accord. And their whole purpose is to lower the carbon footprint. The most prolific way for that is solar. So we're ahead of the curve. We're sitting in front with all infrastructure, all gears in line, and we have every solution in place. So, we expect to be one of the leading players, and we're going to keep on that growth trajectory. I do want to add one thing too, also for shareholders and investors. Historically, the most new millionaires are made when you transition an old technology to a new technology. It's during these great transformational shifts that all the new money shifts, old money shifts to new money. Old money fights it, and they get creative. But right now, we're going from old technology, fossil fuels, to new technology, alternative energy. And people are trying to stop it. Organizations are trying to stop it. We can't stop progress. And in that, you see this alternative wave of just infrastructure building, economics, and investment occurring, all at once. And that's why we invite everybody to come join us during this transformation.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and we'll have your website up so everybody can kind of learn more about the company. So thank you so much, Pablo and Troy.
Thank
Very
you.
interesting to hear about this industry, because it feels like it's the future.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you as well. We'll be right back.